Hello and welcome back to this
I almost just
episode.
said howdy, y'all.
Welcome back to this episode of This Side of Heaven. My name is Caulin.
And I'm Paris, and we are your lovely hosts today.
We need to work on her mic.
Oh, whatever.
Gosh.
What episode is this number?
8.
8.
Lucky number 8.
Yep.
Whoever has a lucky number 8 out there, welcome to episode 8 of... We're going to start calling it TSoH.
TSoH?
Yeah, this side of
because
heaven.
when I see it, I just think of Tosh. Like
Yeah, true.
It makes me think of like Tosh.0. Every
Which
time
is a good
I
thing
see it.
because it's instant recognition.
I don't know. It just
I did it on purpose.
I mean...
But anyway, welcome
Either
back to
or.
the episode. Episode 8. We have a good one planned for you. If you haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe here on YouTube. If you're on Spotify, give us a follow, just so you never miss a future episode of the show. So,
Let's just talk about first
but
the difference of what it looks like to work from home and what it looks like to work in the office.
office fit?
Work
Home
from
fit.
home fit.
Winston is in his birthday fit. His birthday suit fit.
But
like he
no.
always is.
I just feel out of place because you're in a collared shirt, but
Well,
whatever. Anyway,
okay.
So this week's episode, we're going to cover the topic that won in the poll you put out, which was talking about our culture and OnlyFans and what it's done to our culture in such a
and what it's
quick
currently doing
amount of
and what it
time.
will do.
Yes,
Yeah.
and what it looks like in the future years to come, and
Yeah.
what our thoughts are on it. So,
But, well, we have to let them know about last week's episode. So if you missed it, excuse me, what did we talk about last episode? It was the James Bond episode.
I don't even remember.
Oh, it was Love is Blind. I just hit Winston in the head.
Oh yeah, it seems
was-
so long ago now
I know.
at this point.
Yeah.
But
it was
yeah,
Love
no,
is
it was
Blind
Love
and
is
then
Blind.
and then being blindsided in a relationship. It'll be linked up in the corner somewhere that you can go back and watch if you want. Speak of the devil. So that's
Oh,
crazy.
that's so cute.
My mom actually just texted me and said she watched.
She said I listened. No, she said
I wish I could
listened
show it.
It said I listened to the podcast. ... So good.
In all caps. So good.
She's so
well,
cute.
shout out to you, Mom. Thanks for watching. Yeah, it was a pretty good episode. We had fun with that one because we do like Love is Blind. And we like
Yeah,
watching
we're committed to that show.
shows together. She said, I don't even watch that
Well,
Love
actually,
is Blind
that's actually
show.
really funny that she said that, because I actually had a friend reach out to me that was like, I don't even watch the show, but it was just comical listening to you guys talk about the
That's so
characters on the show.
Who was it?
Oh my gosh. It was Chloe,
Oh.
the lucky winner of
Oh,
her gift card.
oh,
But she
right. Okay.
reached out to me and she
Yeah.
was like, I don't even watch it, but I was dying when you said the streets are calling her back. So it was just funny. But
You are
no,
a
the
pretty
show's
funny girl.
amazing. If you haven't yet watched the show, you should head over to Netflix and give it a try.
Give it a
There's
try.
4 seasons. So if you want to head over and watch that, if you're looking for
Yeah.
something to watch,
For sure.
I'm plugging Netflix right now, so
It's
you're
still
welcome.
on Netflix. Don't worry.
But no, so really what we wanted to discuss this week is the evolution of I don't even know how to put it. The evolution of online, like marketing yourself online. That's the nice way to put it. Marketing
Yeah.
yourself.
Well, like as a female.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, right. So, well, here's a little bit of a background context on why we want to talk about this. So there's this podcast. It's called the Whatever Podcast. So at Whatever. They're on Instagram, and then you can search them on YouTube. So there's this host. His name is Brian. He's been a YouTuber for like the longest time, and he took a long break from YouTube, and then he came back with this podcast. And what it is that it's they're based out of, I think, Santa Monica. It's LA, but he brings on every week. He brings on a panel of just a conglomerate smorgasbord of influencers that are on OnlyFans, who have like their own podcasts, their shows, Instagram model, like you name it. And he brings on people from each side of the spectrum, and then they just talk for 5 hours, roughly. So we watch that often. I've been watching it a ton. I just think it's amazing content. So we watch that, and I think we just want to, I don't know,
react to what they talk
interject
about.
our opinions and like
I
just
think
react to it. So we have a few videos that we're going to pull up, and like they'll be up here somewhere, and you guys will get to see it, and then we're just going to share our thoughts and our 2 cents on the matter.
I mean, generally speaking, overall, before we even dive into the videos, I think from watching a few of the ones that you've watched, I think necessarily that the show is a good way to get people talking, but it isn't a good representation of like who is out there in the world. I feel like it's like a hard line between if you're involved in porn and OnlyFans or if you're a normal human being. Like there's not like an in-between of someone that is like, well, I guess that, no, maybe they did have a few episodes where they had some people on there that had a normal job.
Yeah, no, he always has.
No, but in the middle, I feel like on the right side, it's always the people that do OnlyFans and...
Oh, and the left is like the...
There's always like 2.
Super conservative.
Yeah, there's always like 2 or 3 of them. But
No,
sometimes
they
in the
had
middle,
that one.
there's
Well, the one girl in the one video, she was in the military.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, she was pretty normal. She wasn't like left or right. She was just kind of like just a normal
almost
chick. Yeah. So, yeah, just kind of like sharing our thoughts on it and how it impacts relationships and the future of these girls' lives. And because the internet's not going away, the OnlyFans is not going away. It's just not. It'll never go away, and or it might go away, and then something else replaces it. Mm-hmm. But that whole thing is not going away.
I've been thinking about it since yesterday because we watched probably almost 2 hours of the most recent episode, and this one girl was on there, and she was 21 years old, and she's like, my goal is to retire by 25. And she was saying she makes $60,000 a month. And I today had the worst day of work. And then I'm really thinking, wow.
No,
I'm kidding. No, but seriously, that is crazy to me. When she said she wants to retire, remember I said to you, I was like, how do you retire from like selling your soul online?
Yeah.
Like, it's just so bizarre to me. Like, you deal with no stress in life. You just basically sell your body online to people that want to buy it. And you never really work a day in your life. But I guess some people will say that's work. But to me, I feel like that is, I wouldn't classify that as a real job.
No.
I mean, OnlyFans, are they offering benefits or like, do they have a 401k?
I mean, the last time I checked, I don't think so. Yeah, no, you're not really getting benefits with that job.
They're like, oh, and here's our health insurance plan.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of opinions about it. You do too, but I think there's that short monetary gain where you're like, you become very wealthy at 21, and then, but it's like, it's short-term gratification and monetization for long-term consequences.
Well, I also feel
I
like
don't think these girls fully understand.
Yeah. I also think too that like right now it might seem great for them to do, but they don't, like you said, in years to come, thinking of if you start a family or have children and Henry and Tom Google Sarah's mom and her like name or whatever, and it comes up all these videos, I feel like that'd be mortifying as a child to know that your mom just was online and pretty much everyone was just looking at it.
Because if you think back to when you were and us, when we were in school, like you got bullied for the most random stuff. It was like your shoes or, your dad flipped shit at a sporting event. Like you, a sibling did something. Kids are ruthless. Like they're the most innocent human beings, but they're so ruthless when they're younger just because they don't have a filter. And they don't fully comprehend the world yet, and they're just like rapid fire, boom. So yeah, like imagine seeing your friend's mom on there, and you're just like, "Wow, I just saw Timmy's mom online," and yeah, and it would just spread like wildfire.
I mean, I think we have to rewind to like the whole point behind it. Like, whoever thought of it, I just think the whole concept in and of itself is grimy, but that's just my perspective. But I also think that
he's the ultimate pimp. He just pimps out the world.
But I also think too that like it makes me wonder how we got to this point in life, because for decades people have gone online and watched porn or been involved in some kinky shit or something, and then fast forward years later people are paying for someone's photos over a platform, which is so bizarre to me, because when you think about it, people go on Instagram and social media and there's so many women on there already that post such revealing content that it's like, why are you paying for the same thing on another platform? I just don't get that. Like, unless, I mean, I feel like it is, their probably thought process is the personal aspect behind it, where it's just only to you, but it's not only to you. So like, to me, that just doesn't make sense. It's like, what would make you feel special or good about yourself knowing that 20,000 other people receive the same content you received? I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, how freaky is it to think of, like, say your dad works at a company and he works with George at whatever marketing company it is, and he's paying for your daughter's OnlyFans content and he doesn't even know it's your daughter, like, and he's telling someone at the office about it. Could you imagine just the idea of what that looks like? Because there's such a huge age range of people that buy into the content.
And you also reminded me of a clip that I watched from that podcast where the host Brian had a guest on and asked this male guest what he thought about OnlyFans and the different personalities of Americans and I think Japanese or Chinese, one of the two. And he just explained the difference between how there's honor, honor when it comes to, it was either Japanese or Chinese. Like the women over there have this like they wear this badge of honor where they're not only thinking about themselves, but they're also thinking about their actions and how it impacts their mom, how it's going to impact their dad, how it's going to impact their uncle, how it's going to impact their employer, how it's going to impact like a sibling, a cousin. Like they think about these things. Whereas I feel like nowadays in American culture, it's me.
I was just going to say, it's more of a selfish personality.
Yeah. I mean, that's essentially what they all say in there. It's like, I'm going to get my bag and I'm going to be happy and then F everyone else. That's like almost all of them.
I don't know. To me, like,
it's how
as
they
a
justify
female,
it.
Knowing that as a mom, you carry a baby for 9 months and then you give birth to a child thinking that they're going to sell their body online in 20 years. Like, to me, I can't even fathom thinking about that ever happening. I just like,
this is why we need very good parenting.
It's just,
and it needs
insane.
to come back.
I mean, but honestly though, like, I feel like even some of the best parents, like, no matter what you do, there's certain things and aspects in life where, like, say your kid goes away to college, you don't have really a grasp on what they do every day in college or like what they're doing in their life outside of going to class. And like, I feel like that's the time when kids start to kind of make the shift that's like, or like around, like after they get out of high school, they're like, oh, there's other opportunities outside of going to college or working a real job.
Yeah. I mean, we've all gotten in trouble, like mainly
I thought
more
you were about
so
to say we've all thought about doing OnlyFans.
Yeah. No. Yeah, only Winston has. More so men over women. Like we have gotten in trouble, when you go to college and all that stuff. But I think, to offer some pushback, I think that if you instill the right values in your children, yes, you might make a mistake, but you'll end up falling back on the values that were instilled in you at a very young age. So you have a sense of right and wrong, and which actually reminds me of another point and has been a common theme throughout all these videos on the whatever podcast is that not having a father in your life is extremely detrimental to a child's growth and their overall development when they're young and leading into their adult years. It's extremely detrimental. And most of these women, I mean girls, but women say, oh, I don't know my dad, or I hate my dad. And I don't have a relationship with my dad. I never did. I never want to.
But I do have to say that when they bring on this panel of individuals, the last episode we watched, there was a woman on the episode that was in her 40s. She used to be a nurse. She used to...
No, she still was a nurse.
No, she wasn't.
Yeah, yeah. She's a practicing nurse.
Oh, could you imagine?
I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, she probably quit nursing to do OnlyFans, but no, she was still a nurse.
But my whole point about even bringing that up is the fact that think about the type of salary that a nurse makes. The healthcare industry is hurting for nurses so badly, and even what their compensation is doesn't even reflect the work that they do. But if it goes to show that if you have a normal job and you're on a really good career path, or you have something that's stable, like it goes to show that in today's world, most people have like a mindset that it's not enough. Because the fact that she's going and doing something else additionally when she has a really good, steady job goes to show that like her values were more about, it's all about money versus actually valuing herself as a person, because she spent almost 40 years of her life working towards the goal that she had to be a nurse, and that was her career for how many years? She said she had a daughter, I think that was like 13 or something.
13.
So to think that you already have a kid, you've already been established, and then you want to go back and you want to sell your body online. Like to me, it's like it seems like she was missing something. Like she needed attention, or like she went through a breakup and she just wanted instant gratification. Like I feel like a lot of the reason why people act out in certain ways, especially online, or get involved in something similar to OnlyFans, is because they need attention.
Yes, and there was one more video that I watched when I was doing the research for this episode, that the girls who were doing OnlyFans, they are, like traditionally, like before the internet and all that, women would typically find their value and their worth in a partner, whether that's like they were dating someone, they were just casually talking, or they were married. They would find that validation and that, acceptance and like the sexual gratification from an actual partner. And now they're inundated with all of this attention from all of these men. So it just kind of numbs their brain into thinking like, oh, I don't even need a man. Like I'm making money. I'm getting the attention that I seek, and I don't even have to leave my house. So it's like, what is that doing to our culture now and then moving forward? It's a very scary thought. And I mean, my heart goes out to women out there who, I mean, if you're on OnlyFans, but just, like the next generation of young girls and women, it's only going to get more prevalent and more enticing to jump into something like OnlyFans and like, like to go get your bag, girl, and like do your own thing. There's this whole women empowerment movement, and it's almost like superseding the traditional values of being male and female.
The values have traditional values are still around, but I feel like the way that they're looked at now is more so based off of like when our parents were growing up, and even as we were growing up, it was valued to be in a working or in a family and working towards establishing, what was I going to say?
Like a commitment between the two.
Like
and
committing and having children and working towards the future. But I feel like that was looked at when you were younger. Like that is your goal, and those are the things that will bring you joy and happiness in life.
Yeah.
But now it's they really push down your throat that joy and happiness comes from being your own person, self making sure that you're happy,
and like success.
So that if you look at it now, like before people were getting married like early 20s, and now people get married early 30s. And I feel like it's always just going to keep getting pushed back, because nowadays people are like, I want to accomplish so much, or I want to have X amount of money, or I want to do this, this, and this, but I can't do that if I'm in a relationship.
And when you're 20 or 18, because I mean, as far as I know, you have to be 18 or older, I would assume, like to be on OnlyFans. So like imagine you're 18, you just graduated in high school, you watch this podcast, and you're like a semi-attractive woman, and you hear that girl say, I make $60,000 in a month, and you're young and you're very impressionable, and you're like, oh, I'm going to go do that. I'm moving to LA and I'm going to go do that because it's amazing.
I think it depends too. Like there are definitely, I'm sure, people that are a little bit more vulnerable and could cave into that a little bit more easily. Like for example, there may be someone that grew up in a family life where necessarily they didn't have things that they wanted, or their life was just not ideal to what they would want out of life to be fulfilled. So they're like, okay, that's easy money for me, and that's going to buy me a life that I would have never had or have never had.
Yeah, but again, we can promise you that no matter how much you buy in life, it'll never fully make you happy.
But I think that a lot of the times that's kind of like where that mindset kicks in, where people are like, all right, it's an easy fix. I can get this, I can do this, and I'll be happy. But long term, all right, so say OnlyFans in 10 years goes away, and then you go to apply for a job when you're like 37 years old, and the only thing on your resume is like,
well, because what did I say to you last night? Yeah, right. But what did I say to you last night? It's like when these girls end up, because in last night's episode, they were talking about, that girl retiring at 25. Yeah. It's like, okay, so say you retire at 25 and you have all this money, but then you fall into a financial hardship and you're a single mom, or you're just alone and you have to make money, and you say you're done with OnlyFans, but then you have to go into the traditional workforce. Like, what are you going to do? And that'll always be attached to your name.
Yeah, and I hate
that's
to
the long-term consequences that I don't think they think about, is that it'll always be attached on their name.
Oh, I mean, that's anything in life. But I also feel like it's, like I said to you, when people sell drugs, they go to jail, and then they get out of jail and they have to work a regular job, and they're like, oh shit, I make $9 an hour. Yeah. It's like that. It's like you're already at a high in life, so then anything you do after that, it like sets the tone of where you're already at, so you're never really going to be happy. I feel like people find the most happiness when they start out at ground level or a little bit above that and work their way towards something, knowing that they worked really hard and they spent the time to get where they are, because it's so much more rewarding than instant gratification.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like a lot of people don't look at it that way, because in today's society it's so different, but I think that should be something that should be talked about more, in the sense of like that's the way to be more happy. It's not about something that's just going to fix it for a month or a year and then you can just have this happy life, because a lot of people don't think about, like you said, the consequences of what that's going to look like. Yeah, that might be a blimp on your radar and you might retire at 25, but then say you find someone that's amazing and they have like everything you've ever wanted, like they're this perfect person that you could picture getting married to, and then say you're like engaged and then they find out that you never told them that you used to do whatever online, and then they find that out, and then you're heartbroken because you weren't honest about it. Even if you are honest, I feel like a lot of people like rubs them the wrong way. Like, to know that you're like, when you're in a relationship, those images or that intimacy is saved between you and your partner, and it shouldn't be something that's readily available for the rest of the world to see. So it takes away from the bond that you build with somebody else, because now that person doesn't feel special, and that person doesn't feel like it was just something you created between the two of you. So I feel like that takes away from any future relationship that you're going to have. And no matter how you try and explain it, I feel like, there maybe are people that could really give a good, I feel like it just cut out. There are good people, or there are people that could probably give a really good explanation as to why they do what they do, or they could give a good argument about it. But I just feel like I don't know. I just think that it's no. You're ridiculous. I don't know. Am I kicking that?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hold on, let me see.
No, I don't think. I think mine's off. I'm gonna have to cut this part.
No. Wait, hold on. Like, just talk again.
Test.
Test. Yeah. I think we're good.
But mine,
Okay.
I can't hear anything. Normally, I can hear it through my ears.
That's just showbiz, baby.
Showbiz. The show will go on. Sorry, I didn't mean to kick that.
Okay. I think we're back.
Okay.
We good?
I think. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I mean,
sorry
I
about that,
don't
guys.
want to speak on behalf of other individuals and what they do in their life choices, but I think like that's just my perspective on what I think. But again, it's different for everybody, and I don't know.
I mean, yeah, it's, there are, and I don't think we're here to judge. We're not here to judge because everyone has, like you said, everyone makes their own choices. And my opinion on choices is that you learn from the choices you make in life. But if there's a way for us to explain, as we are older than this current generation, and we value having children and like being married and being committed to one another, I think, I think just saying that just like reminded me, because most of these women on this show say they want to be married one day. That's why I really felt the need to speak on it in our episode, only because 9 out of the 10 women say they do want to be married and do want to have kids.
And
but
a lot of people say too that their boyfriend or girlfriend or their spouse doesn't even care if they're on it, which
they do.
Yeah, which I feel like maybe it doesn't cause tension in your relationship.
There's
now,
some
but years to
imbalance
come.
in that relationship where you don't, where
Because
you
I
say
always
you don't
find that
care.
actually that's just as interesting to me as the actual being on OnlyFans itself. The relationship aspect to it is so interesting to think about people and what that looks like from a relationship standpoint. I feel like that to me is like, what type of conversations are you having behind closed doors, or what arguments are you having? Because that really makes me wonder, like, is it something you're really okay with? You're just pushing it under the rug, or like, what are your genuine thoughts about
because this, and like we'll wrap it up here soon, guys. But one of the episodes, the OnlyFans girl brought her boyfriend on to the show, and they're engaged. And
she's like, he's my number one customer.
Yeah. But they had been together for 4 years. Halfway through, she wanted to do OnlyFans and then strip. And so they brought him on with her. And he said something along the lines of, I don't mind that she does it, but I just don't want to see it. Like, I don't want to. And that right there is extremely telling, because if you really, really supported her and you were like, yeah babe, I love what you're doing,
you would watch it without being bothered.
Because if like you did something cool, or like, creative, or you had a really good day at work, or like you were proud of an Excel sheet that you made for work and you wanted to show me, I'd be like, oh cool, like super sexy. I would want to see it because I would be proud of you.
Yeah.
But this guy was like, I just don't associate really with it. Like, I don't pay attention to it. I don't want to know about it. And I think all those people who are okay with their partner like doing OnlyFans or doing it with them, they actually do care. And it's that it's the monetary value that they're getting out of it in the short term that they prioritize over a healthy and productive relationship, a normal one. And that it's, I mean, I could go on for an hour about this, but maybe we'll have episode or part 2 of this talk, because we didn't even get to the reaction.
You know what we should do actually is we should either get my sister on or one of your younger siblings on and hear what their thoughts are in their generation, because my sister's only 3 years younger than me, but his youngest brother, there's like a 10-year gap. It would be really interesting to hear the thoughts of a different generation. Yeah. I would be anxious to hear what that would sound like. But
we can definitely do that. But yeah, so if you guys haven't already, I mean, we don't really want to steer you away from our podcast, but if you want to go check out whatever podcast and you want to be
I think it's entertained. It's a good thing to listen to. I mean, if you're just curious as to like understanding what we're talking about, you could just pop over there for like 30 minutes and listen to it. It's really interesting, and it keeps you extremely engaged.
It's very respectful. It's not loud. It's not obnoxious.
Yeah, no one's like screaming or fighting at each other. It's honestly just people understanding other like ways of life, even though they may not agree, but it's just really hearing like everybody's perspective and how they reason with what they do in life. So it's actually really interesting.
Yeah, so I'll leave that linked in the episode description below if you want to go check it out. But yeah, so we're going to wrap this up. We have some exciting stuff going on. I leave for my bachelor party on Thursday. Great time to burp into the mic. Leaving on Thursday, going to be exciting. Hanging out with the boys. We're just going to play golf and just relax. And then you go on yours next weekend. So we're getting closer to the wedding. We're, how many days exactly? 50? Or no.
37.
Yeah, wait. What? Oh my God.
50.
My brain is mush. I mean, if you can't tell.
You also even said last week, you said the amount of episodes we've already done is the amount to the wedding.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I don't
Long
know.
day.
I'm still a little starstruck from seeing Joey Porter at Men's Warehouse earlier today. He's the greatest linebacker of all time.
Trying to buy the tux last minute.
Yeah, well, because his son is getting drafted in the NFL on Thursday night. Rumors that he might come to the Steelers. So he has
maybe
to
that'll
sharp.
be a perfect time to get Linny P5 on to talk about sports.
Yeah, we could have her like break down
That's my
the
mom,
NFL draft.
if you don't know Linny P5.
how the Steelers did Linny. So we can see what her thoughts are. But yeah, so we'll wrap it up. If you guys like this, let us know, and we can do a part 2 on OnlyFans, and well, I mean, not just OnlyFans. If you guys see anything in the culture that you want us to share our thoughts on, we'd be more than happy to share them. But yeah, really appreciate you actually interacting with the poll on Instagram. So there was a handful. There were like 11 of you who interact on the poll. It's good. I'm proud of it. I'm proud of it because of my own Instagram. I'll put a poll out and I'll get 0 people to answer the poll. So
I probably
shout out to you guys. What?
I answer it and then I answer it on Winston's account.
Okay, so now it's up to 13.
It's like, what should we have for dinner? Cookies? And then Winston says, cookies, yum.
He loves cookies. So we'll see you guys next week. Episode 9. Until then, is there anything else that we missed? Is there anything that
you said
loose ends?
No, that's it, I think. Until next time.
Okay. Until next time.
Thanks for watching.
See you guys.
Bye.
Later.